Welcome back. We are wrapping up this edition of Public Affairs on Peach, and we have talked to reps of various area police departments about how they are using community policing to relate better with the citizens they serve. With me now is Corporal Michelle Paihera from the Gwinnett County Police Department, and your officers have a huge county to patrol, so how do you manage that?
We are the third largest police department here in the state of Georgia, and we have almost 1 million people that we service in Gwinnett County. Some of the ways we engage with our community are through community-oriented policing. COPS communities, we have several in Gwinnett County in all of our 5 districts.
What does that mean?
This is like a neighborhood watch organization and program where we enlist people from the neighborhood to act as block captains. So they contact their police department, they contact their liaison, and they can get information about the police department, but it's also for them to have that one person that they're engaged with, not with emergency type situations, but things that are going on in their community. We also have Coffee with a Cop, and these have been tremendously successful over the past couple of years. At first they started out with just
Who shows up to those? What kind of people?
Everybody shows up to these. Of course, we have our usual lot of people that follow us from Coffee with a Cop to the next location, but we also have new people who come out who've never been there. And this is a way for our command staff and even our chief of police to speak with the people in their community. And whenever we go to these things, we have had an increased number of people that show up. In light of everything that's happened over the summer with Dallas and Baton Rouge and here in the state of Georgia, this last couple Coffee with the Cops that we've shown up at, it was standing room only. There was no way to move around. It would take.
What goes on at those meetings? Like, what is said?
It's conversations about everything. A lot of the conversations are, we see what's going on throughout the nation, but we are here because we wanted to show our support for our local police department, the Gwinnett County Police Department, and we get a lot of handshakes, a lot of hugs, a lot of fist bumps. We hand out a lot of stickers, and people are just so impressed with our professionalism, because we're not immune to the fact of what's going on, but they know that, on a global scale, it's not really affecting them locally because they have a good relationship with us.
How do you deal with frustrated people in your community that have that on their mind from nationwide and what's happened this summer?
We actually will bring them in and have a one-on-one conversation with them. I had a mother of 2 young boys contact me in the public information office, and she was concerned. Her 10-year-old came home from school one day and was just like, I hate the police, you can't trust the police. So I set up an interview with not only her and her husband, but both of her boys to come in and meet with a fellow officer that I work with, and he was able to express policing from his point of view, also being an African-American male. So there was a good dialogue, and we are always open to these types of conversations if they need to be had. Did
that move the needle with that particular child?
I believe so. That these kids and their parents met with the officer for 2 hours. They got a tour of the Gwinnett County Police Department headquarters building, and they got to see that behind the badge and behind this uniform, we are normal people just like them. We have a different job. Some people are dentists and some people are lawyers. We just happen to put on a police uniform every day. Most of our officers are married and have kids, and they go to church and they visit the grocery stores in their community. So we are no different than anybody else. We just have a different job.
Do you feel more in danger today as a police officer than at any other time you've served?
I don't feel more in danger than I did when I first got hired. We have great training at Gwinnett County Police. Our police academy is 22 weeks long. It's about a year from the time they get hired to the time that they're on solo capacity. And we equip our officers with great tools and great education and experience from veteran officers who come in and teach them what they need to know in order to be a solo police officer. But we've got a very good community that will back us up. So if they see an officer in distress, they're not going to sit back and just take out their phones and start filming. They're going to come out and actually help us out.
Is that attitude from that 10-year-old something you guys see repeated more now today than in schools than you did before, or is that more isolated, or where does that stand as far as you've been able to tell?
I think word travels in schools. Kids talk to each other in school. They also see what's going on TV. And whenever they see something, a protest going on or an incident happening in another state, it tends to overwhelm the media, and so they think it happens everywhere, when in reality it's a very rare event in police work.
So do you guys address that when you go into schools?
Absolutely. We tell these kids that there's a lot of different sides to the story. You're just getting one or two perspectives on this, but there is a very large investigation behind these incidents, and these investigations take a long period of time, 6 months to a year even, because we have to go through a lot of evidence in these cases. So once we open up their eyes to the global scope of this investigation, they understand a little better.
There is there are a lot of different languages spoken in Gwinnett County. Is that something you guys play to in the department, or how do you deal with that as a barrier?
We, on the front end, if somebody calls 911 and they don't speak English or they don't speak a language that our call taker knows, we have a service called Language Line, and many other police departments here in Metro Atlanta use this service. And as soon as we contact Language Line, we can get a language of that person's choosing, or whatever they need to be spoken, within a minute. And Spanish obviously here in Metro Atlanta is going to be the most common, but we also have Korean, Mandarin Chinese, even those very rare dialects that are found overseas, we still have access to those. We also offer crime prevention courses through our COPS programs, and we also offer these to businesses. If a business or a COPS community has come to us and they've asked for a different language to be spoken, we will bring in a different officer with a different dialect, Spanish or Korean or whatever they need, to teach that class for that specific audience.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming in this morning, Corporal. I hope everyone out there has a wonderful Saturday. That's going to do it for this edition of Public Affairs on Peach. We will see you back here next weekend. Have a great one.